Hello, welcome all to the Saturdays for Sustainability Learning. And this is 29th week, 29th day that we are connecting to understand sustainability. So I'll just quickly introduce this entire initiative in just 2 minutes and then we can start for today's discussion. So this is an initiative where we are devoting 1 hour of a Saturday to learn about sustainability concepts. So the goal is to discuss sustainability issues in a systematic manner for holistic understanding. And there are two very important points I would like to highlight over here, which are first is all questions are welcome. And this is an initiative where we want to encourage questioning, we want to encourage discussions because everyone in this initiative are learners and discussion, asking right kind of question is the most important thing to understand any topic in a clear way. So you all are encouraged to ask the questions, as many questions as you can, and also to share your viewpoints because that's very important. That's how you can correlate, you can get clarity whether your viewpoint, the map that we have in our mind, so that is correct or not. And maybe if it's not, we will get suggestions and feedbacks from other experts into the group. So please feel free to share. And this is a mastermind group. I would like to tell you something about this, the concept of mastermind. So that was developed by Napoleon Hill in his book Think and Grow Rich, and that's very interesting book. But I'll just quickly share what exactly is a mastermind group. So this is nothing but a peer-to-peer mentoring group. We can call this as a learning group together with the concept of synergy. So synergy is nothing but when 1 plus 1 doesn't equal to 2, so that has infinite possibilities, and that's how the possibility of learning in this group are. Everyone who is coming from their own experience, so maybe 15 years, 20 years of experience, and that gets compounded when we share the knowledge. So that's how the mastermind group can be helpful for all of us. And with the intent to understand sustainability, these are the four outcomes that you can expect from this 1 hour. That is learning one new concept every week. Second is networking with fellow professionals, getting to know each other. Third, seeking about more, I will say, opportunities, not only about career, it is about learning, it's about what exactly happening with respect to technologies. And the fourth is thought leadership, understanding sustainability and steering the future of sustainability together. So these are the four outcomes. And how do we achieve that? What is the plan? So first is I would like to share DIKW pyramid with you all. So that is data, information, knowledge, and wisdom. In today's time, data and information, we have lots of it. Even for a single problem, we get a lot of books, we get a lot of information on internet, but what is missing is knowledge and wisdom. So what is usefulness and application of that knowledge? That's what is missing, and that is something that we would like to focus and encourage through this initiative. And that's why questions and discussion are paramount, are the core for this initiative. Okay, so please feel free to ask your questions, feel free to use this forum to get the experiences of others as well. And how do we do it? So we have a virtual call for 60 minutes at 7 p.m. every Saturday, that is Indian time. And to invite to this session, I have two modes. First is WhatsApp group, and second, I also add you on your calendar. So if you haven't got the invite yet, so you can fill this Google form, and I'll share that in chat later on in the meeting, so that you will get this WhatsApp group invite and the email calendar as well. So that's all for the introduction of this initiative. And let's start for today's discussion, so which is about carbon capture, utilization, and storage. And for me, this topic is completely new. And we got one suggestion last week that we should discuss this carbon capture. So here we are today, and I'll just quickly share, maybe in 15 to 20 minutes maximum. So whatever I could collect about this topic, and then we can discuss about it. Okay. So give me just 2 minutes so that I can share the resource. Yes. So I hope you can see the video now.
How does carbon capture and storage work? Carbon capture and storage, or CCS, is a proven, reliable process that captures carbon dioxide, CO2, from industrial facilities before it is released into the atmosphere and stores it safely and permanently deep underground. CCS is a three-step process: capture, transport, and storage. The most common carbon capture method is to fit the technology to the flue stack of an industrial facility where the CO2 emissions are released. The technology diverts the flue gas containing the CO2 before it reaches the atmosphere, where it would otherwise contribute to a gradual increase of the Earth's temperature. A chemical compound, such as amine, is used to capture up to 95% of the CO2. The amine causes the CO2 molecules to collect at the bottom of a separation tank. The harmless leftover gas of mostly water vapor and nitrogen is then safely released. Meanwhile, the CO2 molecules are heated to separate the carbon from the amine compound. The CO2 is then put under pressure so that it behaves like a liquid. The result is that the CO2 takes up less space, so we can store more. The liquid CO2 is transferred to a specially designed pipeline and transported to a secure storage location. Here, it is injected deep underground, where it remains safely sequestered. The CO2 stays trapped beneath cap rock, the same cap rock that has trapped oil and gas underground for millions of years. The oil sands industry is doing its part to drive significant emissions reductions and help Canada achieve its climate.
Okay, all right. So this was just introductory video about carbon capture. So just to understand what are the processes, okay. Then I'll go to one press release by Government of India, which talks about we had released one policy framework, one report. We'll also see that report. But before that, I'll just like to read this release by Niti Aayog, and then we can go ahead and look into that. So I'll just quickly read. So this has been posted on 29th November 2022, called as Niti Aayog releases study report on carbon capture, utilization and storage, CCUS policy framework and its deployment mechanism in India. CCUS is a key to ensuring the sustainable development and growth in India, particularly for the production of clean products and energy, leading to an Atmanirbhar Bharat. A study report titled Carbon Capture, Utilization and Storage Policy Framework and its Deployment Mechanism in India was released today. The report explores the importance of carbon capture, utilization and storage as an emission reduction strategy to achieve deep decarbonization from the hard to abate sectors. The report outlines broad level policy interventions needed across various sectors for its application. As India has updated NDC target for achieving 50% of its total installed capacity from non-fossil based energy sources, 45% reduction in emission intensity by 2030, and taking step towards achieving net zero by 2070. The role of carbon capture, utilization, and storage becomes an important as reduction strategy to achieve decarbonization from the hard to abate sectors. CCUS can enable the production of clean products while still utilizing our rich endowments of coal, reducing imports, and thus leading to an Atmanirbhar Indian economy, said Suman Beri during this video release as well. Implementation of CCUS technology certainly be an important step to decarbonize the hard to abate sector. This project will also lead a significant employment generation. It estimates that about 750 million tons per annum. So MTPA's million tons per annum of carbon capture by 2050 can create employment opportunities of about 8 to 10 million on full-time equivalent basis in a phased manner. India's dependency on fossil fuel-based energy resources is likely to continue in future. Hence, CCUS policy in Indian context is needed, said Dr. V.K. Saraswat, member of Niti Aayog. The report indicates that CCUS can provide a wide variety of opportunities to convert the captured CO2 to different value-added products like green urea, food and beverage form application, building material, that is concrete and aggregates, chemicals, mainly methanol and ethanol, polymers including bioplastics, and enhanced oil recovery EOR, with wide market opportunities in India, thus contributing substantially to a circular economy. So for me, this topic is new and as well as a little bit difficult to understand. So I hope you will all also help me to understand, and wherever you would like to add your viewpoints, please go ahead. Okay. So I'll just quickly share the two reports that we had. Okay, just a minute. Yes, so I hope you can see on the screen. So this is the report that was released, and the press release that I read recently just now. So it was about this report. Okay, so this was released in November 2022. But I found this report quite technical and difficult to understand in all its entire details. There was one more report I could found. Just a minute. I guess I opened the same two times. Okay, I'll open that just a minute. So again, the second report was also there, which was for India and UK. This was released in December 2022, just 1 month after. So this report is better in terms of it's easy to understand for beginners like us. Okay, so I'll just quickly share this first report, what exactly is there, and then we can go ahead and learn from the second report that we have. I hope you can see these reports, right?
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay, so at start they have given executive summary, but I found this executive summary also a lot of having a lot of details and little difficult to understand entirely. But one thing is clear that they have set the context why carbon capture and utilization and storage is required, and what is scope in India, what are the different infrastructure required, how much funding would be required. So, and also one of the important point where in geography, let's say, where we have the scope to sequester this carbon, and which are the technical universities or colleges which are doing research into this. So they have given all these details into this report. So I'll just quickly go ahead and let's see the introduction at the first, and then we will directly go to the findings of this report. Okay. Yeah, so this is the background in which this report is prepared. So India is the third largest emitter of CO2 in the world after China and US, with estimated emissions of 2.6 gigatons per annum in 2019, which marginally reduced to 2.45 in 2020 due to COVID-19. India's per capita CO2 emissions are about 1.9 tons per annum, which is less than 40% of the global average and about one-fourth that of China. However, with rapid economic growth, infrastructure and industrial development, right, so this is there. No? Industrial development as well as a growing population expected to overtake China, and I guess we have already we have overtaken, right? I'm not sure.
Oh, yes.
Yes,
Overtaken.
we are taken.
Yeah, yeah. So we are now the most populated country. Total CO2 emissions is expected to cross 4 gigatons per annum by the year 2030. The sectoral breakup of CO2 emissions reveal that while renewable, this is important point, while renewable energy is making great strides in India, it can theoretically contribute to at most 30% of the desired decarbonization by replacing fossil fuel based power generation. So they have given the consumption of, let's say, for India, 70%, how they have calculated, right? So for electricity, maybe we can replace with renewable energy, maybe solar or wind, but for industry, agriculture, transport, building, the power sector that we have, so around 70%, that is the emissions we have to reduce. And as we have net zero target of 2070, so that becomes difficult, and that's why they have set the context that the carbon capture is important for India. So they have different challenges, global landscape also they have shared. So where exactly all over the world, let's say in USA or in European countries, where this kind of carbon capture facilities are working and what is their current status. So as you can see, in USA, the first in 1972, they had running this CCUS facility. Yeah, so CCUS deployment has mostly been concentrated in the US due to the low cost of capture from NG processing facilities, CO2 demand for EOR, CO2 pipeline network. So as you can see, there are many technical terms. So this report I found a little bit difficult to understand in terms of for beginners. Yes, if you want to highlight any point or you want to focus on any point, please do let me know so that I can stop there and we can check for more details. Yeah. So in this way, they have shared this report. Introduction, analysis of sector wise. So for each sector, they have given more details. Yes, Manish, you are saying
Sorry, I was
something?
going to ask, will you share the link to this report later in the WhatsApp group? You will,
Yes,
right?
yes. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I'll share. I'll share.
Because it'll be useful to read and then come back maybe next week to
Yeah,
see what we found. Okay, thanks.
yeah, sure, sure. I'll share. Yes, so the 7 chapters are as below. So what I could understand, I'll just share a little bit about it, and then we can go directly to conclusions. So first is introduction, why it is important. Then second, analysis of sector-wise CO2 emissions, how much emissions we have with our different sectors. Then we have conundrum we have a problem about different technologies of CO2 capture and utilization, because it's a costly process and the infrastructure is required, the financial support is required. So that's where it becomes very important with respect to our local condition. Let's say for a technology A would require higher concentration of CO2, while technology B can work with medium or low concentration of CO2. So, and the cost implications, the feasibility implications are also different for different locations. So that's why different technologies are explained over here. Then they have given potential for CO2 storage in India, and then CCUS policy framework for India. So what they are planning to do. Then last is sixth is investment and financing mechanism. So how we are expecting to fund this all entire carbon capture. So I'll not discuss more about this into from this report, because first is it's little difficult, and second, a lot of details are given. But for just our basic understanding, I'll just skim over this report so that you will also get to know. So how much energy would required in 2030? So they have given the estimates for which sector, for which work we require that. Okay, so I'll just quickly go ahead. So where in India, in which district we have the capacity to store the carbon, so that also they have prepared in detail. So let's move ahead to conclusion directly, okay, from this report. Yeah, chapter 7 conclusion. Carbon capture, utilization and storage, that is CCUS, has an important and critical role to play for India to halve CO2 emissions by 2050 and accomplish net zero by 2070, as envisioned by the Honorable Prime Minister of India. Energy transitions take decades, and hence it is important to implement the framework and policy instruments for CCUS to become a reality in India and make a meaningful contribution to decarbonization in India. So this is very early intervention into this. So that's ahead of time, we can say. CCUS is required for the decarbonization of both industrial applications and the power sector. So industrial applications uh, are hard to electrify, and industrial CO2 emissions are hard to abate due to the use of fossil fuels. And second, clean product power, as you can see some more details over here where it can be done. CCUS can contribute to decarbonize and transition to clean energy system in various ways. First is ensuring the sustenance of existing emitters, decarbonizing hard to abate sector like cement or steel, so which are difficult to decarbonize. So with help of carbon capture technologies, we can still abate that kind of challenge that we have. Promoting low carbon hydrogen economy. One of the outcome from this process is also hydrogen. So that also can be used as a fuel. So that also can be promoted over here. And removal of CO2 stock from atmosphere. So these are some of the contributions from CCUS, right? Okay, all right. So this is all about this report. So I'll not share more details. Even I'll also study that. But these are the key element of CCS policy framework for India that they have given. Hub and cluster model is there. Low carbon products are there. Okay, so environmental and social justice. So how that can be achieved with this CCUS? What are the risk mitigation? So all the details have been given into this with respect to also how much cost is required, what are the challenges, what is the feasibility. Okay, all right. So I'll just quickly move to second report, but before that, please let me know if you have any question or anything you would like to add. Please, you can.
Maybe one question is, so
Yeah.
capturing the carbon before it's emitted into the atmosphere and bottling it up, liquefying it, bottling it up. Sure, one idea. Uh, are there other ways to treat or do something with that carbon? I don't know. I'm just asking.
Mhm.
Apart from just pushing it down, can we make it into something more useful? So then the technology sort of funds its, the commercialization of the capturing of carbon funds
Mhm.
itself, because right now it just sounds like a cost center, right? Where you
Right.
capture, you put it down into the earth, it's only
Right.
cost, there's no benefit, right?
Right.
So are there any solutions that have been published that talk about how to make a product out of this and slow the release of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere rather than have it all be released in one go?
Yes, it's there. Okay, I'll just quickly share one screen. So maybe if I could find it, I'll just share. Just a minute. Okay. So while reading this report, I also went through this release by the Niti Aayog. Okay, so this is one video where they have shared the basic details of this report. Okay, I hope you can see this YouTube, right?
Yes.
Okay, okay, just a minute. So they have one slide over here. I'll just just a minute. So what you asked, right? So whether it is currently we are seeing it as a cost center, but do we have any industrial applications or can we replace any product, right? So that is what and they have given somewhere. Yeah, this is a slide. I hope you can see, right?
Yep.
Yes. So I guess this color denoted over here with green and red. Okay, so these are saving. So first is, let's say, with this carbon capture we are also getting some chemicals, biological conversions are happening, carbonates are prepared, or enhanced oil recovery is there with the help of this technology. So these are all with this we are earning, let's say, money or saving money, we can say. But storage is something which is consuming our money because we need to transport it to a location which is remote from people, and there we need to store it below the earth. So that requires a cost. So I guess this green and red, so this is talking about what you asked. And yes, of course, there are many technologies, and even I couldn't get into more details of this technology, but there are definitely n number of technologies into it. I hope this answers your question. But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
definitely we will check for more details on this. Yes, and these are some of the technologies that you can see on the screen. So what basic details that they have given, I'll just quickly share my understanding over here. So let's say physical solvent based method is one. Okay. So here CO2 concentration is required medium to higher. So when we have a higher CO2 concentration, then only we can use this. And with respect to its practical applicability, so they have given economics rupees per tons. So 1.1, that's 1100 rupees to 1300 rupees are required for per ton. Then second is chemical solvent base. So for this low carbon CO2 concentration can also work, but the costing is, as you can see, around 3000 plus 3000 rupees per ton. And in the same way, absorption, cryogenic membrane. So these are different technologies, and where it can be applicable, they have also given, that is pre-combustion or post-combustion, right? So these are the different technologies, and the details are also given into that report. So maybe we can get more details by reading that directly. Right. Any other comment, any other question, please?
Was there any mention in the report to say, okay, um, this is the amount of or gigaton or whatever tons of CO2 that are being emitted, and like you
Mhm,
said, we are the third largest. Do they
mhm,
have a path to say based on current activities,
mhm,
whether they are revenue generating or like carbon capture, they are cost centers?
mhm,
What is the path to reduction? Meaning, what is the current investment and what is the
mhm,
future planned investment? So we can see, how many capturing plants they have in mind, and what is the scale of that investment?
mhm.
Was there any of that?
Yes, it's there. And also one thing that came out from this discussion and this press release that they had, more research and development is required. So they all agreed that we need to invest more into it in terms of research. So how to make it practicable? This is early for us to get into any conclusion. But yeah, they had some preliminary research into this report where they have discussed, so what are the different possibilities for India to implement it. And the second report that I am sharing with you, just quickly, so in that report they have some detailed discussion on this topic. Okay, so this is carbon capture, utilization and storage in India and UK. So for these two regions, I would say, so they have this kind of detailed discussion and detailed findings. All right, so I'll just quickly share this report as well, and let's skim through it, and I hope we'll get our answers into this, because I found this report easier than the earlier. Okay, I hope you can see the second report, right? December 2022.
Yes.
Okay, great. Yeah, so you can see. Yeah, so the objective of this report was to provide concise overview of carbon capture, utilization, storage capabilities in India and UK, to produce an overview map of Indian including highlighting existing collaborations, identify key opportunities for collaboration in joint research. So I guess this is the report which will give us more clarity on your question regarding where we are doing it, and what is the financial and practical applicability for that, right? So in this report, CCUS overview, they have given again why it is required. So that we have already seen, right? So capture technologies, I guess we can read this paragraph, which will give us more understanding. Carbon capture technologies rely mainly on two basic principles: chemical absorption and physical separation. Both constitute the basics of technologies that are well known in the oil and gas industry for natural gas processing, such as amine solvents and solid absorbents. The technologies focusing on CO2 removal before combustion are classified as pre-combustion capture technologies, the most advanced ones present in oil and gas industry. Post-combustion capture technologies, on the other hand, focus on CO2 removal from flue gas, where the concentration of CO2 is lower, a challenge that recent technology developments have been focusing on to overcome in an increasingly efficient manner. Lastly, oxy-fuel combustion focuses on modifying the combustion process so that the flue gas is a high concentration of CO2 to enable an easier separation. These technologies can be further subdivided depending on the applied separation mechanism. So first maybe solvents, solid absorbents, membranes, cryogenic, solid looping, and the another type is direct air capture, DAC, relies on the use variants of some of the above mentioned technologies such as solid sorbents or solvents, which captured CO2 directly from air rather than flue gas streams. So these are some of the technologies. And then utilization technologies are direct utilization, enhanced oil recovery, and others. CO2 to products, I guess this answers your question, Manish. So CO2 to products, so these are chemicals and polymers. Uh, so the CO2 can be used in the production of ammonia, right? So CO2 can be converted to monomers for plastic. Routes to chemicals also include microbiological conversion. Then fuel production, CO2 is hydrogenated to methanol, which then can be converted into fuel. So the CO2 we can use as a fuel. In the indirect route, CO2 can be converted to CO, I guess carbon monoxide, right? COS, and then combined with hydrogen via Fischer Tropsch steps to lead to gasoline, diesel, and other fuels. And mineral carbonates, CO2 can be used in the production of building materials such as curing agent or as a raw material in its constituents, cements and construction aggregates. So in this, CO2 reacts with calcium or magnesium to form low energy carbonates. So these are the different applications. And again, in storage and transport technologies, they have storage in depleted oil gas reservoirs and deep saline formations. So this is one way. Second is storage in basalts and other basic rocks. This is second. Third is unminable coal seams. Third and fourth is the transportation. CO2 can be transported via pipeline, truck, rail, ships, different ways. Yeah, so we will skip for UK capability and directly we will go for India. Okay. Okay, so I like this map as actually. So I'm not sure we have it for India. Yes, we will have it. We'll just check for India. Yeah, India capability result and discussion. Okay, so there are different universities in India where we have the research facility. So they have given for capture, utilization, transport, and storage. So which universities or which colleges are working on this technology? They have given the entire detail for India. Then R&D centers, SME results, large scale companies, as you can see. Which are the plants that are currently working in India? They have given details of them as well. Okay. So like for carbon capture, we can take the example of first fluoroecoamine FG technology is used. IFFCO Mitsubishi, which is leading participants, and TRL. I am also not sure what is it. Let me just check. Yeah, so this is good. This will give us good understanding of the CCUS in India. India stakeholder map, with respect to research, they have given universities are there, CCUS Center of Excellence is there, Geological Survey of India, Directorate General of Hydrocarbons. So these are all in research. SMEs, then CCUS, large companies like Tuticorin and Tata Steel. Public sector undertakings are there. Emitter companies like steel, cement, petrochemical sector is there. Environment and communities, which are working to abate environmental impacts, and NGOs or civil society groups. Then financing, Ministry of Finance and Private Investment. And the last and most important, the government, with Ministry of Environment, Forest, Climate Change, Ministry of Power, Ministry of Petroleum and Gas, Coal, and DST. DST is Science and Technology. Department of Science and Technology. Yeah. Yeah, so I guess this report gives more understanding with respect to which universities are working and how they have research capability into CCUS. So I'll share both this report with you all, so you can also read. Let's see about conclusion what they have given over here. Just a minute. So one thing is sure that India and UK are working into collaborating in CCUS and provide a better options. Reducing the energy penalty and cost of CO2 capture has been common interest for R&D activities so far in India and UK. Improving efficient and cost-effective capture is important for both CO2 utilization and permanent geological storage. So far, R&D has resulted in the development of improved amines, novel solvents, and absorbents in both countries, and this is an ongoing area of research. There is a successful existing India UK collaboration in this field. Carbon Clean has developed CO2 capture technology in the UK, which is already deployed at a commercial CO2 utilization project for Tuticorin, alkali chemicals, and fertilizers in India. So one thing is sure that more research is required, and major hurdle is cost competitiveness, cost efficiency into it. Yeah, so that's it from my side for today, and I'll share this both the reports with you all over email and in WhatsApp group. This is open for discussion. Please, you can share your viewpoints on this and maybe questions if you have. Please.
Can ask. I mean, it'll be interesting to read the report. What I'm also trying to figure is how much are we banking on this to deliver our commitments,
Mhm,
that have been made as a part of COP26 or whatever, right?
mhm,
Because by 2030 something needs to be done. How much is this going to contribute towards that goal? Because that determines the priority. If this is going to make up, half of that goal, okay, that's very important. But if it's
right.
not, if it's 5%, then what are the other things that the country is doing to achieve
Right.
that COP30 target, right? So sort of
Right.
a big picture would be useful,
Yeah.
at least to understand as a country what is India doing. Of course, India has some concessions maybe because it's considered a developing country. So
Right. Yeah, that's interesting. We need to look for more details into it. Yeah. And one more point that I wanted to share from the report, I'll just quickly share. Just a minute. Yeah, so this is one point where we need some more discussion, which is what Niti Aayog shared. There are two ways to working with carbon. One is carbon credit based policy, and second is carbon tax based policy. So with carbon capture, utilization, and storage, we are going with the first, that is carbon credit. The reason being, so developing country like India, this is suitable, and carbon tax, on the other hand, which is suitable for developed economies like EU or maybe USA. The first one, and also I could get some details about carbon credit like US 45Q. So in this way, this is practically being done over there. So that is the way where India is also planning to go ahead into future. And yeah, so that was one point which I missed. Yes, what else, please, you can share. And just one question for all. So do you believe, everyone believe that the carbon capture will solve the problem of maybe environment or climate change that we have? What's your take on this, the basic question that can be raised on this?
No, I think, as you initially said, this is a fairly complex and technical topic,
Mhm.
and there are many areas which need to be touched upon in terms of the total, managing the zero level that we want to achieve. So I think this is one aspect, and I mean, I think there are many different things which have to be done. I mean, generating clean energy is a big deal. So, I mean, anything that contributes more than 5% to getting to the result is a worthwhile thing to chase. So,
Mhm.
whether by itself it's helped in a big way or not, I mean, it's significant and it has to be pretty closely. And I guess over time, for all these technologies, the costs go down over time as newer techniques are found. So maybe in a 3 or 5 years' time, you'll
Mhm.
have a somewhat different cost structure altogether.
Right.
And so I would think that this is important. It is obviously not the easiest thing to do, but it's important that as long as it contributes more than 5% toward the goal, it's something we need to chase.
Mhm. Right.
Hi, Dhananjay. Ajit here.
Hi. Yes.
So, Smita attended one training program arranged by Terry. So, I learned difference between two terms, carbon neutral and net zero. Okay, so during discussion, it was told. So, when we set target of net zero, so we need to reduce emission by 80%. Okay, and this can be
Mhm.
done by maybe avoidance, reduction, substitution, and then whatever is left over, you set a target of 80% reduction, and then remaining 20% you can use carbon capture mechanism.
Mhm.
Okay, so more focus will be on avoidance, reduction, and substitution. Those are maybe low cost measure, and this carbon capture is highly technical and may require a lot of investment.
Right. Yeah, and the same similar point was discussed into that press release by Niti Aayog. So what they talked about, one thing is with decarbonization, let's say there are some sectors which we can do it, but some are hard to abate sectors like cement or steel, where you would require the energy, we would require the carbon emission over there. So these kind of technologies will be deployed over there,
Yeah, right,
right?
right, right.
Yeah.
And there are two mechanisms or term used. One is CCS and CCUS,
Mhm.
carbon capture and storage, and carbon capture utilization store.
Mhm.
So do you have similar kind of report for CCS or
Uh, Carbon dioxide removal, the first, right? So that you
Hmm.
talked.
Carbon capture and storage?
Mhm.
So here we are using in this report term carbon capture, utilization, and storage.
Right.
So I think this is one step ahead. You don't only
Mhm.
store, you try to utilize in some other processes.
Yeah. I was just going through one article as well with this question. I'll just quickly share. So this is one article by World Resource Institute. Seven things to know about carbon capture, utilization, and sequestration. And this is also fairly updated, I would say, November 13, 2023. So they have given some basic details about CCUS, uh, like the difference between CCUS and carbon dioxide removal. So whether both are same or different. So this is one, and second, which sectors we can use this technology, how much CO carbon dioxide is CCS currently capturing. So that's very, very minimal, 0.1%, I guess, what they have given. 1%, sorry, 0.7% of today's greenhouse gas emission. How much CCUS is needed to reach net zero, and what portion of total mitigation need is this? So I guess this article will also answer some of the questions that we had initially, right? So big picture regarding how much it will contribute to the net zero by 2070 or 2050. Yeah, and I like this article because they have given really short answers, and it's easy to understand for us. So, what are the risks and concerns associated with CCUS? Technological challenges there, high cost is there, right? Complex to coordinate, capture, transport, sequestration. So, a lot of interdependent things are there, operated by different companies. So that becomes again challenge. Many of the technologies do not capture 100% of the emissions, so about 90% is captured and other 10% is released as it is. So that is also challenge. So maybe technological issues are there. Concerns about perpetuating fossil fuel use, as we rightly said. So in this case we will keep using fossil fuels, and net zero would be difficult in that case. Yeah, so I'll share all these resources in WhatsApp group and email, so that you can also check, and maybe we can have more informed decision, more informed discussion. Sorry. Yes. Any other discussion point, please?
Yeah, I think just on that final point you mentioned, perpetuating the use of fossil fuels. The
Mhm.
point is, even to produce the chemicals that will be used, or to use carbon in a useful way, there is a lot of energy that is going in. And if that energy is still being produced from fossil, we have a problem. So one of the most fundamental solutions that, at least surprises me is this: there is at least a significant number of countries that have nuclear power capabilities,
Mhm.
which they have their risks, but can solve so many of these problems. But it seems like, it'll be interesting to discuss someday. What are those true perceived risks with nuclear? We've operated, the US has operated, France has operated nuclear plants. Yes, Japan has had a challenge, but and there's concern about nuclear power proliferation for other negative means. But if the entire world is at danger with this climate change, then why are countries,
Mhm.
not proliferating the use of nuclear power and still doing relatively inefficient means of, trying to change? We think hydropower is great, but no, you change the course of nature even through that. right?
Right.
So there's many things that we end up affecting through the other means, but solar maybe is less so. I don't know. But there again, you put so much energy in just to create these solar panels, which again have to be replaced and so on and so forth, which I think you can say for nuclear anyway. Anyway, that's just a brain fart if you think, right? I mean, I'm just thinking aloud.
Yes, and there is one more viewpoint, very interesting viewpoint on this. So they call it as, we know the concept of entropy, right? So energy from let's say high entropy to low entropy. So whenever we are using this energy, whenever you are burning fuel or whatever happen, so energy is transformed from high potential to low potential. And what this theory says that when we are using so much energy, so we are using the coal's energy or by whatever means we are using the energy, and we are emitting into the atmosphere to the low entropy point. And this way the overall temperature of the globe that is increasing, and that you cannot solve though you get some energy from outside the earth, if that becomes a possibility. But then only climate crisis that we have, that will not be solved. The reason being, fundamentally you are increasing the overall temperature of the earth.
Yeah, fair, fair. I mean, you could produce the energy from wherever, as long as you are producing energy and putting heat out or putting whatever
Right,
out, the
right.
conversion of energy from one form to another, and we have challenges. Yes, so
Yes.
there could be a more fundamental problem than just CO2s, right?
Yes. So I read one interesting book, but I don't remember the name because I listen it on my mobile around 4 to 5 years back. So I'll just check if I could get it. So they have given systematic detail points on this entropy point of view, why it will not be possible. Okay, I'll check for that.
There is another interesting book by Bill Gates
Mm-hmm.
on what he talks about 51 billion tons of greenhouse gases being produced every year.
Mm-hmm.
And what are the various sources of it and what all control measures are possible. It's again an interesting book on saying what are the, that's the one, I think, right. You
Okay.
got it there. Yeah.
How to avoid a climate disaster. Okay.
That's right.
Okay. Have you read this book? Or,
I've read this book, audio version of the book I've
okay.
heard.
Okay. That's great. Yeah, we will read it sometime. Yeah, that's great suggestion. Thank you. Okay, great then. So if you have anything to add, please, the forum is yours. Otherwise, we can stop here. And before stopping, I just remember one short video to share with you. Give me just, it will take half minute. This is from Elon Musk. Okay.
That will significantly impact.
Just a minute.
Is it possible
I hope you can see, right?
to create some sort of carbon extraction technology that will significantly impact the amount of CO2 that's in the air?
Yeah, I'm funding this $100 million carbon capture prize to find out the answer to that question. So right now, all of the carbon capture methods that we're aware of are very expensive. The cost per ton is very expensive. And then even if money's not an issue, you have to say, okay, how much wind or solar energy was required to pull carbon out of the atmosphere and, like, I don't know, make it in solid form, like make a cube of it or something. We don't actually know the answer to that question. CO2 has a very low energy state naturally. So it's like you burn something, you combine oxygen with hydrocarbons, and the net result is CO2 and H2O. It goes from a high energy state. We use that to power our cars or our power plants, and then it ends up in a low energy state, which is CO2 in the atmosphere. Naturally, it therefore requires a lot of energy to rebind that in solid form. And then you want it to be something that's going to be stable in solid form for a long time.
Is it possible to create some sort?
Yeah. So again, the same entropy related problem. Yes, so I'll leave you with this short video. Thank you so much all for your valuable time and your inputs. So this is fueling this initiative. Thank you.
Thank you, Dhananjay.
Thanks.
For
Yeah. Bye. Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank